Alright, so this is going to be another one of my redo videos. This is going to be talking about Affix Simulator. I'm going to dumb it down even further from the last video that I released. So, when it comes to Affix Simulator, it's to simulate how you want to go about fixing, simulate the process of affixing. The reason why you want to do this is because you may not want to spend a shit ton of money or a bunch of resources trying to get a bunch of affixes you may want, but then you might mess up somewhere. Let's say you don't know much about like certain basic factors or like how to stack abilities and how to get the percentages to go higher. A Fix Simulator can help you with that because you won't need to spend a dime. All you need to do is go to this website, play around with it, try to formulate what you need to do, figure out how to break it down and all that, and then you should be able to get those final fixes that you want. So, when it comes to playing with a Fix Simulator, there will be two different versions. You got the North America, which is a Canadian and US flag, and then you got the Japanese PSO2. I'm guessing down to Japanese PSO2 because I am familiar with the names when it comes to most of the abilities in game. So to get started, you want to click on that add panel over here. Now the rest of these buttons should be straightforward. I'll talk about the boosts and this campaign boost later. So when it comes to playing around with this is pretty much stimulating you getting into the process. When you talk to Monica or Dudu, you'll select that one weapon you want to toy around with. For example, let's say you have a 15-star weapon, you want to fix it. When you select it, it's going to be in your base fodder, and then you can select up to 5 other fodder pieces. So you're working with 6 columns here, and then you have like 8 or 9 rows over here. The reason why they give you an extra row is because most of the time, or there will be moments where you have an SAF that can be unlocked. They are going to be adding unit SAF, but for now, weapon SAFs are a thing. To figure out what ability you want to turn around with, you had to go through all these different categories. I'll explain what these categories are and try to dumb it down in a few sentences. But you can either go through these different categories to find the ability you want. You can find the name of the ability that you want, or you type up the name of the ability that you want. Or you can type the effect. So if I want to look for something that gives S attack, for example, all I need to do is do S attack, and then it should be able to show me what I am looking for. You can type in 40 and then it'll dumb it down even further. It's just that if you want to be very specific, let's say I want to try to get S attack plus 40, it's not going to register. It's going to give you a bunch of these things right here. Unless you had to be really precise. Yeah, even then it's like, yeah, it's not working. So you either type in the type of thing you're looking for, as attack, T attack, R defense, or it's a number like 50, and then it'll dumb it down. Let's say I want to work with power 3 though. You can click and drag to whatever column you want for it to be there, but let's say I want to move this power 3 from the base to fodder 1 and fodder 2. All I need to do is right click on it and then it'll be able to transfer to these different sections. Now you might be wondering, what is this first option, the add factor? Pretty much if you have a certain weapon at plus 35, it will unlock a special ability factor. I'll talk about that in its own separate video. You can look into playlists. But let's say I want to have power 3. I want this as one of my final abilities. What I need to do is go down here to the select abilities, click on power 3, and then it's going to go over here. If I want to, I can just do it, and you'll see that I'll be able to transfer at 100%. And if I want to know the details about it, I can click on the detail button. It's going to show me the plus 30. It's going to show me the success pattern rates, the graph for it, and then the order. When you hit do it, you can also do it like multiple times. Let's say I want to do it again and again and again. I can do that, or I can do this until it hits a success. You won't be able to notice the difference when I already have this thing at 100%, but let's say it's only at 60%. If I hit do it and then do success or plus 10,000 times, you'll see that on the second time I did it, it was able to succeed, but the first time I did it, it failed. So out of those 2 times, 50%, out of those 2 times, one of them failed, and that equals 50%. Now, before I want to do it, for example, let's say I want to use an ability success boosters. This first drop down will be able to, excuse me, this first drop down will give you that different percentage ability booster you want to use. Second one is talking more about the special abilities you had to get through AC scratch, star gem scratch, or a support item scratch of some sort. And these are transferable at 100% most of the time. The third one, I have no clue what this thing is. Now, I thought it was the guidance ability, but I was wrong. So if you got any information about guidance of life, put it down below. But this thing is able to also increase your percentage. It's just that I have no clue how you can get your hands on that thing. So let's go back and talk about that campaign boost in this thing over here. Now, this drop down is pretty much the same thing like a campaign boost, but a campaign boost is an overall buff, an overall increase to all abilities. When it comes to this drop down one, you can see that it says strike up, shoot up, tech up, HP, and special. This is very specific because this is towards a certain stat. For example, I already got power 3 here, and then I'm on a shoot 3. If I decide to put strike up 5%, you'll see that power 3, instead of being it at 60%, is 65. But when I choose, let me change that real quick. But when I choose shoot 3, it's still at 60%. It's because power 3 gives a stat to S attack, and this boost is towards S attack. So now let me break down these different categories. I'll go through them quickly. I will also state that if you want to know how to make a certain ability, for example, let's say EV power PP, all you need to do is hover your mouse over the ability. Come on, pop up. There we go. And it'll explain how you can make this ability. But let me breeze through these different categories. Stat enhancement is pretty much your one stat. This is your basic stat. For example, if you just want to get an increase in S attack, you would go for a power 3. Stat enhancement lesser is just a lesser version of the stat enhancement. So power 3 gives you plus 30 S attack. Lesser power 3 gives you plus 25 S attack. Now, stat enhancement special is just a fancy way of saying special abilities. Now, don't confuse special abilities with special ability factor. There's a difference. Special ability factor are special abilities that you get if you get a weapon to plus 35 and it has a special ability factor on it. Resistance, they are your defense stats. They are going to give you stats against certain elements. And then stat effect, this is your way of putting an ailment on your enemies. Soul is just a soul from a boss, a mini boss, and you can put it onto your weapon and or unit. Fever, easy ability to slap on. You can find these by killing the seasonal rappies here and there. Ripper, Slayer, these are unique weapon abilities that are directed towards a certain group. Receptor abilities are abilities that can transfer most souls or most things that it states at 100%. Alright, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details about S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S7, S8. There's a lot of abilities for them. Just look at it at your own time. They're like mini pods. I don't know how to describe the special one. Some of them can be dropped, some of them can be made, some of them you can select. So special abilities are unique abilities that you can't really get normally. And then others just junk abilities. If you don't have a specific ability you want in your formula, just shove in a junk ability so it can fill up a certain space. And that concludes this video talking about how to use Affix Simulator, or a dumbed down version of it. If you have any question, comment, concerns, put it down below. I will make separate videos going into details about these things. Once again, look into playlists. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.